Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
One of the things that I think is important for people to recognize, especially for small business owners, because we're not talking, if you don't run Google, it's a different algorithm of what you need in terms of your talent. But I think the point here is, if you're just thinking about cogs in a machine, you're going to get cogs in the machine. And the other point is, even if you're not hiring 10Xers, if you're hiring millennials and Gen Z, which is essentially anybody under roughly 35, you're going to end up with people who have very similar traits to those 10Xers, and they don't want to be treated like a cog in the machine. So whether they're the top performer in your company or they're a mid-level performer, if you treat them like people who don't have futures that matter to you, they will find someone else who will treat them like their futures matter to them.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And with that situation, I've seen so many business owners and leaders out there that are like that with the cogs in the machine. They're a pusher instead of a leader, but at the same time, they're the ones that are complaining, oh, I don't have any free time. I don't get any time to do the stuff I want to do. Well, it's because you're trying to manage and micromanage. You're not allowing these people to give you the freedom and put systems into place so you can do whatever you want and let them run it, So it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. So when it comes down to 10X management, how did you get into what made you transition from, I guess you're still running your other management company, but what made you maybe switch gears and say, hey, let's go into this 10X tech management?
Well, should I start this one off, Michael?
Sure.
We had been hiring tech talent for probably a decade plus by the time we started 10X management. I would say probably closer to 15 years, building web platforms for the artists that we represented. And we also had a partner, and we were building apps for the entertainment world. And we kept bumping up against a lot of the same problems over and over again. And at the time, we didn't think that we could necessarily be a solution. But around 2010, people started to refer to tech talent as rock stars. And I think for us, it was a little bit of a light bulb moment. We'd also seen at this point in time, and I don't know how much you see this in Idaho, but there were almost like celebrity chefs, which I'm sure you have some in Idaho as well, who had representation, which was also new. So you started to see other types of talent have representation. And it kind of broadened our mind to this concept of what is talent. We had been having these problems with finding tech talent and interfacing with them. So we thought, perhaps the type of representation that we do in entertainment and have done for, 15 plus years could transfer over to a different vertical. And tech seemed like the obvious place. So we started around 2011. Michael set out to find somebody to represent, and he found somebody through a mutual contact that was based in San Francisco, had gone to Harvard, was actually a musician. And instead of doing the normal things like being a waiter, let's say, or a waitress to pay for your musical career at the outset, he had taught himself how to code and was coding in San Francisco in order to pay for his music career. And so he understood what a manager does in entertainment. And when we pitched him the idea of this concept for doing it within tech, he was into it. He became our first client. And that was sort of the start of the process. And Michael, I'll let you kind of take over from here.
Oh, you covered it pretty well. I think that I don't have too much to add to that. I think you got where we needed to go. I think the only other thing that's worth saying is part of what we were seeing in that moment in time was digital disruption of the music industry. So our core business was facing really big hurdles. And being entrepreneurial, this was the moment where we looked at each other and said, uh-oh, we may have a problem here. What else do we do? And I only bring that up in the context of my father has a sign on his desk that says trouble is opportunity. And we didn't know it at the beginning, but this trouble that was in front of us turned out to be a great opportunity. And when you get into those moments, you have to pivot and iterate and figure out what is the next path forward, because you're always going to run into obstacles. It's just about how you navigate them.
I actually have something to add to my own, if you don't mind me jumping in, Spencer, which is the problems that we were trying to solve by starting 10X were sort of twofold. For the talent that we represent, what we identified as a problem is that they got so caught up in having to deal with running their business, invoicing, negotiating contracts, all of those things that surround doing what they do best, which is solving problems and creating technology, were getting in the way of actually doing that. So on the one hand, we wanted to take all the business elements off of the plate of the talent that we represent to make it easier for them to do their job more effectively. And then the other problem, which is what we really had on our side as a customer of purchasing technology talent, was difficulty in finding pre-vetted tech talent. We would sort of have to figure out our own way to vet whether this person was good or not good. And sometimes it worked great, sometimes it didn't. So what we are trying to solve on the business side is providing rapid access to high-level tech talent that is pre-vetted. So when somebody comes to 10X, the hope is that they understand that we've gone through the process of figuring out who is the right person for the job for them. And when we present it to them, we present it in such a way that they don't have to necessarily go through all the typical HR processes of onboarding talent. They don't have to go through a large vetting process. They can really focus on trying to get the problem solved. So it's really about rapid access to talent. And that was really, it was the genesis of why we started 10X. And then, as I mentioned before, sort of the idea of talent representation for different types of talent was really what spoke to us.
I love it. And I realize now why you named your book Game Changers, because you two are game changers. You guys, you saw an opportunity, and you know how to pivot, and you know how to continue to go forward and to make the best lemonade out of lemons, man. So that's amazing to me. So my consultant has always told me, even throughout 2020 and even now, with because I own a cleaning company as well as doing this podcast, and so many people nationwide are having a hard time hiring people. But he kept saying, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. If you can break the code and find ways to get people to hire people and attract more people, you're going to get more of the market share. You're going to continue to grow. And that's what I kept thinking. Where my team once in a while would shudder and worry about things, I'd say, no, guys, let's just keep going. Let's just keep trying new things. And it worked out for us, and we continue to grow. So it's interesting that you can either see a challenge in front of you and just fall back and say, wow, it's out of my hands. It's the government. It's not me. Or saying, it's time to step up to the plate and knock one out of the park here. So I like what you guys are saying there.
I think that's an incredibly good point that you bring up, which is, what do you as a business owner, what can you identify as a business owner are your strengths and your differentiators? What can you control and what's out of your control? What the government does, the political climate or the economic climate, we can't do that much about, but we can do something about what is in our control, our culture, the way we treat people, the way we position ourselves, what we bring to market. Those are things that we control. And if you make the best of the situation and you control all the areas where you can control things, and you optimize for that, you'll be successful.
And it's taken me years to learn that there's things I can control and things I can, things I should worry about and things I should not. But now that I've actually started to learn, hey, do as much as I can on that in this area. This is as much as I can control. I need to leave that be. I can go home and still play with my kids and enjoy my weekend or whatever it is, without letting that thing just haunt me and just go through my mind all weekend. And that's that's the difference between also, I think, the micromanage, personality and the people that lead. So
agreed.
So when it comes to 10x, you're hiring, you're attracting these coders. What other type of talent can you find on your guys' platform? Because you're not, I'm assuming you're not, going after the bookkeepers, for that kind of thing, or
We
it's
stayed
mostly the high end
right. We stayed
coding
all
and other
within the
stuff.
technology stack. So it
Yeah.
ranges from designers, so that could be a visual designer to a user
Okay.
experience designer, all the way through all kinds of software engineering, hardware engineering, DevOps, which is cloud infrastructure, um, artificial intelligence and machine learning and blockchain and Bitcoin are all things that we cover. And basically, if you want to build it, fix it, optimize it, we pretty much have people who can do that. There's a few times a year someone will come in with a skill that we just don't have, but it's pretty rare.
Okay. Well, that's great. All right, well let's move into the lightning round here, guys. Everyone knows the Idaho Business Podcast is sponsored by Sensations. These guys are amazing spa tanning salon. These guys do it all. If you want your massages, you want your mani pedi, this is where you go. Located in Twin Falls or Pocatello, go visit them. They're next to Gold's Gym. Here soon, they're going to have some great deals for us to shout out to you guys when you go in and mention you heard about them on the podcast. But stay tuned. But we are sponsored by Sensations. All right, guys, what is one of your maybe favorite books or tools or softwares you've used in the past or recent that has just been so great for you?
Well, I'm a really avid reader, and I sort of vacillate between fiction and biographies. Right now, I'm reading a biography on George Herbert Walker Bush. I think our 41st president. I probably have that number wrong, but somewhere around 41. And what I really take away from biographies is I get to learn what made the person that they are. To me, that's super interesting. What in their background, what were they like when they were younger? A lot of the stuff that's in the public domain that we see is fairly well known, especially if you're, sort of studying history. But what I love about the biographies, and I certainly recommend this to anybody who's interested in business, is learning like what made them tick before they became successful, who they are and what influenced them. So I'm a huge fan, of biographies for that reason.
I like it.
I like my reading generally shorter form, so I read a lot of periodicals and articles. I'm a big fan of Life Hacker. I spend a lot of time investing energy in investing time into optimizing myself a little bit more every day. Where you save 3 seconds every day, it adds up. Like it really matters, and so I do a lot of that. I also read a book earlier this year relating to personal stuff called The Anatomy of Peace. I think it's by the Arbinger Institute. And what was really interesting about that, and sort of relates to our world, even though it was about adolescents who were having a hard time, it was really a different context, is it talks about having either a heart of war or a heart of peace. And when you have a heart of war, you see other humans as objects who are there to be moved around to achieve your goals. It's not purely a bad thing, it's just a way of seeing them. And when you have a heart of peace, you recognize that it's a person and they have feelings, and you treat them and you approach them differently. And I really feel like when I think about our book and all the things that we talk about, we approached all this from a very business standpoint and came to those same conclusions. And this is sort of the more personal side as opposed to professional side of the same coin.
I like that mindset for sure. I like that a lot. Okay, what maybe what both of you guys can answer, of course, but what's one of the biggest myths business owners need to know the truth about?
Biggest myth.
I'll go here.
Go for it.
Which is that you kind of have to know everything and have to know it really well. I know that's going to sound very counterintuitive, but knowing enough and knowing the right things and knowing when you need to know more and when you don't is kind of everything. There's a lot of stuff that I don't dig deep on, and I think Rishon is very much the opposite on this.
there's a lot of stuff that I allow to sort of gloss by because it's not going to have a huge impact. So I don't need to spend my time on that. I don't want to focus my energy on the things that matter most, which is, is what I call radical prioritization. Because I think that, 20% of the things you work on like affect 80% affect 80% of the outcome. Just using the 80-20 rule. And the more you can identify which 20%, the better your outcome.
Like that.
All right, I have a good one. I thought of a good one while you were talking, Michael. I think the biggest myth that I can think of is that business owners think that the idea is the most important thing, and it's the execution that's the most important thing. So if you have a great idea, but you don't execute well, your great idea means nothing. So when we get things like NDAs to sign for companies that may want to engage with our clients, and perhaps talk to us about things that they deem to be super sensitive, I always chuckle a little bit because, stealing someone's idea sounds really, really simple, but executing on an idea is incredibly complex and incredibly hard. So, the reality that me running my own business is going to not only steal their idea, but also execute on their idea when they're already in the marketplace is a little bit humorous to me, but that's my big myth. It's not the idea so much, it's the execution.
I like that a lot. And you can even tie that into people that are maybe on the teetering on the step of, hey, do I get into this idea that I've got to make it a business, or do I just kind of keep thinking about it for years and years? Do I want to be an entrepreneur, or do I want to be a wantrepreneur? So it ties in that way. So
totally.
I love it. Okay, guys, what is one question I should have asked that I did not?
You get this one first.
You should have asked me how it is that I'm so much better of a tennis player than Michael is.
I think that you should have asked, or I wish you had asked about why it's so important to have someone in your corner, because this is a big part of what we talk about in the book, and why identifying your mentor, rabbi, coach, priest, whatever you want to, however you want to identify it. And we get into the details, the nuances of the difference between those people, but why that's so crucial and why we all need that third party who's invested in us. They care about us. They're not us, and they can give us the feedback of the things that are hard for us to see ourselves, and a little bit about that. And there's a concept called Johari's window that we talk about in the book, which is related.
I love it. Well, sounds like our listeners better be getting this book. I mean, is it sold in Amazon, or where can we find this book?
It's sold in Amazon. It's sold in bookstores, if those things even exist anymore. There's a digital version. There's an audio version, which I actually did the whole audio book myself in the studio, which was daunting. You should ask me about that. But yeah, there are multiple ways to get it. And we actually have a website called gamechangerthebook.com, which has a fun quiz that you can take to figure out where you fall on the 10X spectrum yourself. And it'll give you basically a percentage and some areas of the book to take a look at to help you improve and push you down that 10X spectrum. Or you can also take it on behalf of your company, depending on how much you know about your company, to see how 10X they are, which essentially means like how modern of a management philosophy do they have. And our contact information is also on the website, gamechangerthebook.com.
I love it. I was just going to say earlier, I'm going to probably most likely wait for you guys to come out with the 3X book. It's more probably suited to me, but
this book is suitable for all X's. Yeah, all the X's.
It's a hierarchy. You want to be at 10, even though you might be at 6 now, or 4, or even 1.
I was trying to figure out if you were making a joke when you said the 3X thing, if you were looking for the triple X version of the book. I don't think that's
No, I don't think my spouse would like that, but no, yeah. The 3X of what I think I am right now, of where I am.
Well, actually, each chapter ends with an example of what we view to be a 0Xer, a 5Xer, or a 10Xer. I think we do this primarily as it relates to companies, sort of grading where they are. And, like if a 10X, a 0X manager does this, a 5X manager does that, a 10X manager does this. So we actually sort of lay out some differences between these various levels of Xness. You fit in there somewhere. We all do.
So I'm somewhere in there, somewhere low, but I'm in there. So
somewhere between 0X and 10X is everybody.
That's right. Well, I appreciate it, Rishon and Michael, for joining us, and I'm glad that we were able to get some big names on the podcast. I really appreciate your attendance here. So, thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, and you guys hear it from them. Go out to their website. What is it again? So for the book,
GameChangerTheBook.com.
Okay, and then the full title of the book, one more time.
Game Changer: How to Be 10X in the Talent Economy.
I love it. Okay, guys, you heard it from them. Go look it up. Go get the book. Take the quiz. See where you're at, and go out and conquer your day, and be positive. So, again, thank you guys, and until next time, we will see you all later.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.